I shall design this computer for you, and I shall name it also unto you, and it shall be called
Guggith Sky to the Galaxy.
Oh, what a dull name.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Typically, in this fashion, we're going to look into the past, with a year behind us or previous Disney Plus shows being released. But with us being over halfway done with 2024 and some pretty solid movies so far, I'm beginning to look into the future of the beautiful year that 2025 could be for the movie industry. Today, I'd like to dive headfirst into that future and rank and review 10 movies that have me the most excited, all scheduled for release inside 2025. From anticipated blockbusters to sequels, remakes, and even indie films. Like most years have been in the past, there's something for everybody to see in theaters this upcoming year. These are just the 10 movies that I'm the most excited to sit down and see. The only criteria for today's list is that all movies are currently scheduled to release inside 2025. All movies are fair game as long as they're releasing in 2025, but these were just the 10 movies that I'm most excited to sit down and watch. So, grab your popcorn, get comfy, and join me as we count down my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025. In our honorable mention spot is a movie that would absolutely be in the number 1 spot if it currently had a 2025 release date attached to it. And of course, that movie is Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. If you were one of the lucky few that were able to make it to the end of my longest video yet, my ranking of every movie I saw in 2023, you'd know how much Across the Spider-Verse means to me. It's currently in the top spot of my Letterboxd 4 favorites. With Lord & Miller cooking up the first 2 movies in spectacular fashion, fans including myself are absolutely dying to know how this trilogy will end. So many questions left unanswered from the cliffhanger ending that still bothers millions to this day. But as the writing and recording of this video take place, it still has no release date attached to it and is delayed indefinitely. No day to mark on my calendars, even if it's years and years away. Maybe if everything goes absolutely flawlessly behind the doors of production, we can see the ending to this trilogy in 2025, but until we get confirmation that it will release within this year, I can't confidently place it anywhere on this list. But just know, if it did have a 2025 release date, this movie would easily be number 1. Alright, I got my Spider-Man addiction out of the way. On to the legit ranking.
I am placing blocks and shit 'cause I'm in fucking Minecraft.
In the number 10 slot that kicks off our list, I have the Minecraft movie. And the entire reason that this movie is even on this list is because I fully expect this movie to suck ass. There is no other reason. This movie's been in development for almost an entire decade, and after more and more delays, we finally got the news that Jack Black would be playing the titular character of Steve. But he did great as Bowser and was one of the only redeeming qualities of the Borderlands movie this year, so it can't be too bad, right? Until we learned that it was going to be a live-action movie, not animated. Minecraft, the entire game about cartoony-looking characters in a world made of squares, is not animated. Everything this movie originally promised is now out the window, yet the excitement to see how bad this movie truly is giving me the motivation to buy a ticket. But I fully expect by the end of 2025, this movie will be towards the bottom of my end of the year ranking, but honestly, that just excites me more and more. Okay, listen, I know most people will disagree and say the exact opposite of what I'm about to say, but I absolutely adore that we're getting more and more Saw movies. Saw is just one of those franchises where I feel like it's reaching the end of its lifetime in terms of how many more stories we can fit inside this universe, but until we reach that moment, the potential is endless. I'm an absolute sucker for some gross horror movie production beats, and the Saw franchise never fails to deliver on that account. And in addition to all of that, Saw X was one of the best Saw movies in the entire franchise, up there with the original and even Saw 6. It's such a creative franchise that still has so many stories left to tell to fully complete the soap opera gore drama that started all those years ago. The Saw franchise still has so many unanswered questions too, like the Saw Trap survivor group we see in Saw 3D. There are some people in there that we've never seen before. Like, who are you people? I want to know your story and what trap you had to go through. There are still so many questions about this franchise, and I'm always down to get those answers and to look like a bitch when some disgusting trap is shown on screen, and I gotta partially look away at some moments like I did watching Saw X. But at the end of the day, I love this franchise, and I'm impatiently awaiting the next installment. The intricate traps, the twisted narratives, the moral dilemmas at the heart of each film keep me hooked. Each new movie feels like a fresh piece of a never-ending puzzle that I can't get enough of. The Saw series has the unique ability to consistently surprise and horrify its audience, and that's just what makes it stand out in the horror genre, and what makes it totally okay for it to have its 11th installment coming out soon.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
In the number 8 spot, we have a movie that takes place inside a universe of a movie that I truly believe deserves a sequel more than any other movie that is currently slated to get a second, third, or hell, even a fourth iteration to their saga. And that movie is Dogman, taking place inside the same universe as the absolute banger Captain Underpants, the first epic movie from 2017. A movie that made 4 times its budget at the box office. It's a complete sham that we haven't received a second epic movie in theaters yet, but finally DreamWorks decided to wake up and step back into the world of Dave Pilkey and adapt one of his other famous franchises. It only took 6 years. Finally, DreamWorks is going back into the world that is so true to so many people. And with that new trailer that was released, the hype is there. I was worried that DreamWorks would do their typical habit of casting celebrities in the voice roles, where they don't need to be, especially since Dogman doesn't speak in the books. I was extremely worried. But once the trailer came out and the director confirmed that Dogman will be voiceless, I have full faith that the creators behind this project truly care about the source material and want to give it a proper adaptation. I just hope to God that this movie succeeds financially, because there are so many more amazing Dogman and Captain Underpants stories that could be properly adapted into animation format from such a great studio.
If you played Edward Cullen, throw your hands in the air!
In the number 7 spot, we have a movie from an Oscar-winning director, Mickey 17, directed by Bong Joon-ho, the man responsible for Parasite. With his next theatrical movie having the cast of Robert Pattinson, Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette, and Steven Yeun, I have absolutely no doubt he's going to cook just alone with that cast. From the very little plot synopsis we were given, it says that Pattinson will be playing a robot labeled as expendable because of his regeneration abilities. But after one of his latest regeneration, quote, something goes very wrong. With a synopsis like that being so dry and bare-boned, it's still a miracle that this movie has me excited, and I think that's just in part because of the cast and the absolutely amazing director it has attached to it. My only worry so far with the movie is the behind-the-scenes trouble of the entire movie being delayed from a March 2024 release to a January 2025 release, rumored to be because of the dispute between Bong Joon-ho and executives at Warner Brothers on how the movie should continue after wrap and post-production. And that really worries me, because Warner Brothers is a studio mostly known for their interference with the director's visions and attempting to make it more appealing to general audiences, when in actuality, they just end up shitting the bed. Seriously, look at the entirety of the DCEU and tell me that there wasn't interference on almost every single one of those movies that made it an entire mess for us to have to sit through. Or even look at Batgirl or Coyote vs. Acme, which are 2 movies that will never see the light of day, that had hours and maybe even years of talent and effort poured directly into them. I'm absolutely praying for Ho and hope that he keeps pushing back and makes the movie he envisions without much studio interference. His track record suggests he's a director with a clear and unique vision, and it would be such an absolute shame to see that compromised. I do not know how to feel about the How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake yet, because part of me absolutely despises that it's being created, just because of the past reputation that live-action remakes have had, soulfully ripping out the main part of what made that movie so special because they didn't have to worry about making it realistic, and like in the past, the live-action remake has never been as good as the animated movie that precedes it. But, to be fair, all of that criticism is attached to the Disney live-action remakes. This is DreamWorks' first attempt at a live-action remake of one of their original popular films. And they probably couldn't have picked a better film to start with How to Train Your Dragon being one of DreamWorks' best movies outright that could have been remade in live action. The original How to Train Your Dragon will remain as one of my favorite movies ever, no matter how good this live-action adaptation is. But to start, DreamWorks is hitting everything right so far. Announcing a stellar cast of Mason Thames as Hiccup after his outstanding performance in The Black Phone, Nico Parker as Astrid after working alongside Pedro Pascal in The Last of Us, and the 6'2" giant Gerard Butler as Stoic the Vast. On top of all that, announcing the return of my GOAT, John Powell, to helm the movie's score after the beautiful track you heard as the fanfare. The cast has also spoken out and said that they have a lot of practical effects used on set to make their acting as real as possible, is an absolute massive win. Obviously, all the dragons and the majority of the flying sequences are going to have an actual couple layers of CGI, but it's always better for the actors and their performances when there are touches of practical effects layered in there. For a movie that holds such a special place in my heart, I'm obviously very worried that my feelings toward the original will cloud my judgment and immediately hate the new one because it's definitely not going to be on the same level as the original. But I'm going to be honest, when How to Train Your Dragon releases in theaters on June 13th, 2025, I will be sitting in that theater, prepared to relive one of my favorite childhood movies. By the time that this movie comes out, there have been 25 MCU projects in between the last time we saw Captain America and now. Sam Wilson's return as Captain America is long overdue inside the MCU, and finally, after 4 years, Captain America Brave New World releases in theaters February 14th, 2025. Originally scheduled for release where Deadpool and Wolverine is currently set, Marvel did the right thing and delayed it after very poor test screenings. Those original reviews from the test screenings saying that the action was bland, the plot served very little to the overall story of Captain America, and it was overall just boring, which forced the movie into reshoots and rewrites. Which I'm very glad that they did, because in those reshoots, they added the GOAT, Giancarlo Esposito, to the cast in an unknown role currently. This movie will also pick up elements from the second MCU movie ever, The Incredible Hulk, and finally reintroduce the leader and introduce the Red Hulk into the MCU. Characters that were teased almost my entire lifetime ago, back in 2008. And like a lot of people agree that The Incredible Hulk isn't one of the best MCU movies, it holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the first Marvel movies that I ever got to see as a kid and kind of launched me into this world. So it's gonna be nice to finally tell somebody like, hey, The Incredible Hulk is gonna be important to this plot, go rewatch that one. With almost everything stacked against it and Marvel holding us strong to make this movie as best as it possibly can, I am fully ready to see Anthony Mackie's next installment in the MCU, hopefully launching a new trilogy for himself. If you weren't able to make it 40 minutes into my 2023 ranking video to witness my opinion on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I'll forgive you for not knowing that my true and unbridled love for the franchise. FNaF has been a series that I've been able to grow up with, and finally seeing that movie on screen like it was intended reignited my love for this franchise. The first movie was announced all the way back when I was a 3rd grader, and I was finally able to see the movie in the senior year of high school with a group of people that mean the world to me. And to see the movie do so well at the box office, we knew that a sequel was inevitable. It's not as long of a gap as the previous movie, obviously, but having to wait out the rest of 2024 and then the entirety of 2025 to see this movie in December is truly gonna be a challenge. But it's a challenge I'm willing to accept, especially since this movie will naturally take inspiration from FNaF 2, a game that is widely regarded as one of the best Five Nights at Freddy's games. To think that we'll be able to see fan-favorite animatronics like Withered Bonnie, Mangle, and Toy Chica on the big screen is absolutely insane to me. On top of all the new animatronics being built, all the main and supporting cast are returning, and like I said in my 2023 ranking video, I equally cared, if not more, than when Josh Hutcherson and Elizabeth Lail were on screen driving the plot forward. Same goes for Matthew Lillard, who recently suffered a Spring-Elect failure and has some vengeance to uphold. The best part about this is we'll probably get our first looks at the animatronics or something about this movie as early as next month, seeing as Scott himself said for FNAF's 10-year anniversary, there will be little movie updates sprinkled across the massive roadmap he has planned to celebrate the franchise's 10th birthday. Holy fuck, FNAF is 10 years old. I've hit Unk status, bro. What the hell?
Oh, it's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb!
Entering our top 3 podium for our 2025 releases, we have the recently announced 3rd installment of the Knives Out franchise, properly titled Wake Up, Dead Man. giving us absolutely zero details for what our plot for the movie could be. But, like the last one, it'll definitely have some poetic meaning that we'll only truly understand after we sit through the movie. Both movies already inside this franchise are brilliant mysteries that make you rethink everything you previously guessed about the plot almost every 5 minutes. The writing and direction from Rian Johnson truly keeps the reveal hidden up until the moment that it needs to be revealed. And I'll admit it, Rian Johnson fooled me like a dummy the past 2 times. Now, the Knives Out franchise does something that other continuing franchises are afraid to do, which is have a mostly new cast with every single movie, with the exception of Daniel Craig as that guy himself, Benoit Blanc. And the cast this time around does what both movies did before it, and has enough A-list actors where it gets you hooked, but not too many that it feels diluted like an early 90s comedy. When I look at this cast, names like Jeremy Renner and Josh Brolin immediately pop out to me, but people like Andrew Scott, Josh O'Connor pique my interest a whole lot more than the people I already have faith in. I'm ready to sit down and watch this movie and the entire cast deliver an amazing performance whether I know them already or not, and I have no worry at all that this movie won't deliver an outstanding mystery like the previous 2 did before it.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
I can't even listen to the fanfare I just made you all listen to without my entire body having a reaction to how much I hate it. I'm really sorry. Yes, obviously in the runner-up spot we have the MCU's take on the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family created all the way back in November of 1961. The Fantastic Four have been thrown through the ringer when it comes to popularity. 3 movies under their belt in the past 20 years, you think that people would be able to know the type of characters these people are, right? No! Because all 3 adaptations were horrible adaptations of portraying the characters that they truly are. Some a little bit more than others. Both attempts at Marvel's first family are packed to the brim with character assassination. Similar things that have happened to really cool characters inside the X-Men. For the longest time, if you asked someone what they thought of Cyclops, they'd probably say something negative about James Marsden or Ty Sheridan's take on the character. Which, mind you, isn't a dig to either of those actors, mainly their writing. But now ask someone, after we've had the brilliant character of Cyclops in X-Men 97, people are finally realizing how cool of a character Cyclops truly can be. And that's just what I want out of this movie, to show the general audience how cool the Fantastic Four characters can actually be. No longer associated with the shitty meme I played as the fanfare, but associated with the hopefully outstanding story Feige has planned for these characters. All I want from this movie is to truly let these characters shine and allow them to enter the MCU as smoothly as ever. Because the main thing that has been missing from Phase 4 to whatever phase we're on now is an anchor character. Obviously in the Infinity Saga it was Tony Stark, but with the Multiverse Saga, there are so many things happening at the same time it's difficult to have an anchor character like that. We need a character like Tony Stark that has the publicity image to do the job right, but someone different enough from Tony that it doesn't just feel like a repeat. Because like I said for Brave New World, it has been 3 years and 25 MCU projects since we've last seen Captain America in a damn MCU project. It's as simple as that, we just need a new anchor character, and I'm fully under the impression that the anchor character as Phase 4 onward was supposed to be someone like Spider-Man, which is obviously difficult to tie up when Sony owns them and refuses to help license him out. If done correctly, I feel like that Reed Richards could totally be the anchor character moving forward. He's smart, caring, incredibly talented guy, and being played by one of the most loved men in Hollywood right now. And on top of it, he's a character that Marvel now has the full licensing rights to and can have him show up anywhere, anytime, for whatever purpose he needs to do. If Marvel plays their cards correctly, this could be one of the most successful MCU movies and fully revolutionize their future. No more Marvel is dead or Marvel is back after every single trailer that looks good or looks bad. Superhero fatigue isn't a real thing. People just want decent stories for the characters they've grown so attached to. And yes, right now, as it stands, we aren't getting the best that we possibly can from these characters and from this studio. I believe Marvel has finally woken up and realized the reception that half of their post-Endgame products have received, and I have full faith that Marvel will deliver a beautiful story that reignites people's faith in the studio and the brand that is the Fantastic Four.
You do not fuck this up. You don't get to. If this movie is a hit, it can save the MCU. It will restore my faith in this franchise, and if it's not, I will never forgive you, Kevin!
And the number one movie that I am most excited for in 2025 is a movie that starts a fresh new universe, James Gunn's Superman. Like I said previously in the Fantastic Four segment, Nothing makes me more mad than character assassination. Nothing gets me more worked up than the writer or director fully missing the mark on what a character is supposed to stand for. So let me tell you with my entire chest how much I hate Zack Snyder's Superman. It baffles me so much that a character can be so different from what he's supposed to be and be this loved and this idolized by people who are supposed to be fans. With this much character assassination happening directly before our eyes, it makes me so ungodly excited for a newer and fresher take on a character who is supposed to symbolize the best in humanity. Superman isn't supposed to be a god to be feared. He's a farm boy from Kansas who just chooses to do the right thing. Whether it's as simple as rescuing a cat from a tree, or something as large scale as defeating Brainiac and defending Metropolis, that is who Superman is. A character that represents the best of us. With his vibrant colored costume, positive attitude, and smile, he'll be there to save the day. He's not supposed to have a dark, bland, emo-looking costume. He's supposed to be colorful and bright. The amount of damage that the Injustice games and comics and Zack Snyder have done to the image of Superman is detrimental. I've seen people think that Superman is a lame or even an evil dude who just does what he wants because he can. And yeah, people who think that are fucking idiots, but it's also because of the media of Superman that they've been fed over the past couple years. So when this movie hits theaters in July 2025, I hope that it will fully change people's visions of Superman and the world can begin to heal. Before anything was announced and pre-production on this movie was still in effect, Gunn said the actor he cast for Superman needed to be someone you'd want to give a hug. And I think you'd absolutely nails it. David Cornsweet in every single set photo we've gotten so far has had the biggest smile on his face. Something that you can confide and trust to save you and others around you. James Gunn could not have chosen a better character to start this new universe with because without Superman, there is no DC universe. Yeah, sure, we all love our Batman, our Wonder Woman, our Green Lantern, our Flash, but at the end of the day, Superman is not only the most important DC hero, he's arguably one of the most important characters ever created in fiction. Deep down in me, I would like to try and forgive Warner Brothers and hope that they've learned from their mistakes with DC movies. Every single DCEU movie we've gotten in the past have been made with the intention to compete and match Marvel. But with how people feel about Marvel lately, they have the chance to get ahead in this race for the first time since 2008 and be better than them. Currently, if someone asks me which is better, Marvel or DC, I could confidently say Marvel. But after this movie comes out, I'd like to say both, or maybe even say DC. And again, with this movie being the launch for whether or not the DCU continues, I have full faith that people will be able to resonate with this take of Superman and this movie entirely. So there you have it, everyone, the 10 movies I am most excited for going into 2025. With a solid mix of sequels, original stories, and movies apart from franchises, 2025 is shaping up to be an outstanding year for the movie industry yet again. Personally, I'd love to hear what movies you guys are excited for in the comments below, any movies you think I might have missed that deserve to be on this list. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time.